You are listening to the 5 Squared Podcast, the podcast where we bring you tips for your business and your life. Our goal is to leave you smarter with ideas, wisdom, tools, and entertained. The 5 Squared Podcast is produced weekly for your enrichment. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow me on Twitter at 5 Squared and Facebook. All the links are in the show notes. Now let's get started with your host, business consultant, executive coach, and founder of 5 Squared, Tim Fives.
Welcome back to the 5 Squared Podcast. Hope everyone's had an amazing week like we did. One of the things we're doing is we're doing a bunch of Facebook Lives every week, every day during the month of March. And we're reflecting on mindset and how we get into an abundance mindset. So I just wanted to share a few things that I've been grateful for all week. One is the amazing meetings and the amount of connections this week that we've made. And I got another one this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to meeting with David. Met him over the last weekend at a speaking engagement. Great guy, and I'm just grateful for the fact that I get to meet so many wonderful people. And I was grateful that I got to speak at the Ken McArthur event. For those of you that don't know Ken McArthur's, check out his Impact Live. And one of the things I wanted to chat about this week is, Ken has this mentality, this mindset that we impact people whether we choose to or not. It could be just a smile, it could be how we interact with them, it could be a multitude of different things. But the point is we in our lives leave a ripple effect of the people who we touch and don't even know it, right? And most of us go through our days and lives not even realizing that we have an impact. And as I reflected on this, I thought that it's an interesting point that most people that I meet or see or observe are so down or so self-absorbed that they never have the consciousness to realize the potential impact that they could have. So you go through life and you're just kind of going through the motions and you're having an impact. You're down and you're depressed or you're self-absorbed, you're still having an impact. Like, you can't turn the impact on others off. And I think that's a huge responsibility for people, for all of us, to realize that we make a difference. We all make a difference, whether we want to or not, whether we're conscious of it or not. And it's incumbent upon us, and I think there's a huge responsibility to take ownership of the impact that we make. And when we're teaching sales and we're teaching the mindset and we're coaching people through that, it's something that is paramount when you decide and be courageous to make a difference, right? And stop worrying about what other people think of you. Stop thinking about how you'll be perceived or whatever. If you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart, who cares? Another thing I'm grateful for today is Devin made coffee. Thanks, Devin. So it brings to mind, and this is one of the topics we covered on the Facebook Lives, but I wanted to cover it here for you, is choice. We get to choose what we do. And when we make that choice, we can discern how we use our time. And the opposite of that is if we're not choosing what we do with our lives, then somebody else is choosing it for us, or we're letting the circumstances dictate that, and that's just awful. That's when you wake up at the end of your life and you have a bunch of regrets on the things you should have done and didn't do. Think about the ability to make an impact. If you could just make somebody's life better by saying hello, providing a smile, telling them a great job at the drive-thru, whatever, why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we making that conscious choice to do that? Why aren't we making that choice to say, I'm going to be a beacon of light for everyone? And most of us don't do it because we're not making that choice. Most of us then think, well, I don't want to do that because people might think I'm weird, or people might think I'm strange, or it might show weakness, or whatever. And again, that comes into the how we've been programmed by society, and probably another topic for another podcast. The point I'm trying to make people is you get to make a choice how you live your life. It is within you, the power is within all of you to make the choice to be amazing. And the only thing that it requires is a dose of courage. Now, what are the things, and how does this impact you? Well, I gave a talk on Saturday, and it was on the distinction between scarcity and abundance. And you see, when we live in scarcity, we have a lot of negative self-talk that is, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, there's not enough clients, there's people don't like me. Versus on the abundance side, I'm plenty, opportunities all around me. Uh, I'm I'm more than enough. And when you're in scarcity, you live in fear, plain and simple. And when you live in abundance, you're living out of peace. And that's one of the main components of our programs here is to get people in that abundance. We call it our Abundance Accelerator program. Because once you're there and you're thinking in a way that is congruent with the natural laws, then things start to magically appear. And when you're living out of a scarcity, you're really living out of fears, and this is that fear grips us. And one of the things that I was talking to people about on Saturday was, really another word for fear is stress, right? Because stress is manly. Stress is really strong. Like, oh, I'm busy. I'm stressed out, and so give me some slack. And I used to be there. I mean, I'm not gonna lie about it. Uh, but it's an excuse. Being busy is an excuse. I had a wonderful gentleman stop in this week. Grateful for him, and he said, have a productive day. Thank God. Yeah, amen, brother. Because that's what we should be striving for. Is your week productive or is it busy? Another distinction. If it's busy, guess what? You're making excuses. When you're busy, you're saying to the world that I'm just doing a bunch of inane tasks for the sake of doing them. When you're productive, you're doing the tasks that pertain to what you want to achieve. What do you want to be? What do you want to be? Busy or productive? So we get a choice on that. We get to choose how we spend our time. We get to choose what those things are we want to do, what we want to accomplish. We can plan those, we can execute that plan, we can measure that plan, and then we can iterate and improve that plan in those activities. That's that's what successful people do. But it starts with the choice. I'm going to choose how I use my time. I'm going to choose how I treat other people. I'm going to choose to be a beacon and let my light shine. In my life, we've all had times where we slip back into despair or fear in the side of scarcity. And it's a horrible place to be. And one of the things that I noticed some of the clients I have come in and a lot of people I talk to is that they're addicted to that mindset of scarcity. They're addicted to feeling uh, inadequate, right? Because it's sympathy and it's the victim mentality. So, who wants to play the victim? Well, in our society, that's what we've been trained to do. Hey, my coffee's too hot. I'm going to sue McDonald's. Oh, that didn't go my way. I'm going to sue. I'm entitled, right? It's all the victim mentality. And here's the point, people, victims aren't successful. Victims make excuses. Victims blame other people. Victims don't take accountability for their actions. They haven't made the choice to be courageous. They haven't made the choice to go out and take what's theirs in a courageous, meaningful way, right? And in a way that's ethical and that is in service to other people. Okay, because when you're living out of abundance, you're in service. And that's where I loved, I'm coming back to Ken's McArthur's event, the ability to make an impact. It's a responsibility to us all to go out and make the world a better place. And it can be done with a simple smile, maybe a couple bucks extra on a tip, maybe just congratulating somebody on a job well done. You don't know what impact your actions are going to have. So make your actions positive. Make them out of abundance. So with that, we have a great weekend coming up. I'm looking forward to it myself. I hope everyone else is. We didn't get any snow this week, so that was kind of a bummer. But my friends that did, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got out with your kids, got out to make some snow angels, and had a good time and embraced it. And if you had to do a lot of shoveling, well, sorry about that, but you got some exercise. So there you go. See, it's all winning. I hope that you have an amazing weekend. I hope and pray that you're all in God's grace, that you're healthy, and that you're at peace with yourselves, and that you choose to make a difference, a positive difference in this world. Start with some small actions. A smile to a stranger. Thank a waiter. Help somebody out that needs it without asking. Your ability to improve somebody else's lives are all around you. Go out and get it done. Till next week, Tim Fives, enjoy your weekend.
Thank you so much for listening to the show with your host, Tim Fives. We hope you will pass along our web address, fivesquared.com, to your friends and colleagues. Be sure to check out our archives section on our website for previous podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at 5Squared or follow us on Facebook. This has been a 5 Squared production. Join us next time for another edition of the 5 Squared Podcast.